suggested he'd actually like to take some time with Joe before we vote on this to see if something could be worked out.
And maybe some of the stakeholders, let's see how have a chance to. I think
Don, if I'm correct,
so
you're willing to proceed with the next 4 items in this category and talk about them and vote on them.
Okay.
But this number 11 would return to us.
Yeah, well, the only one I would hold, because they make is the RRP1 is number 12. That's a prioritization. That's a whole, that may fit in with some of the conversations. But
well,
the other three.
So 11, 13, and 14 would proceed, and 12 would be the one we'd sit down and discuss, which is the language.
The cost-sharing ratio? 12 is a cost-sharing ratio. It relates to the same language that 11
it's part of the same
deals,
policy,
but you separate it out. So you have cost-sharing ratio as one of the considerations in the study. If we modify number 11, that will also modify the text in RRP1. But and if you want to argue about cost-sharing ratio too.
Oh, well, I wasn't arguing. I just thought they were because you were talking about Okay, I follow you. Okay.
So what?
Well, then I don't have necessarily a problem with that language. I don't think that was
On 12, you mean?
Right, on 12.
Then let's do this. Let's delay number 11, come back, then we're going to walk through 12, 13, 14, and 15, see where we go on that. Also, Mr. Fiorini and Mr. Johnson announces that their suggestions for WRP1 are or will in 30 seconds or a minute be available for distribution out in the hallway. Those two of you who are interested in this subject can go get the document. I don't think it has a title, does it? But it starts, no, I'm sorry, it says WRP1. So that's their suggested language. Ma'am, just a moment. We're going to work through the rest of the unresolved issues as best we can. We're going to come back at 1 o'clock to try to deal with the WRP1 suggestion. Okay? All right. And for the two folks here from Bethel Island, we're going to return to that issue after we get through 12, 13, 14, and 15, hopefully. Yes? You have to go to the microphone, please, because we're broadcasting this, and we need to know who you are and hear what you say.
I can give you that. Lisa Kirk, Bethel Island. I'm one of the two people here, and
yes,
I know
ma'am.
that Contra Costa County did ask you to postpone any action.
And we will give you a report at that time with our attempts to find somebody in Contra Costa County who knows about the issue so they can tell us what goes on. So
we're not going to postpone it today? Because if you're going to postpone it today, we would like to go home and come back and it's up for discussion. I'm going to be honest.
Cindy, that's a fair question. Cindy, what have you determined from Contra Costa County?
Well, I talked to both Supervisor Pifo as well as Steve Getz from the he's Deputy Director from the county as well, and they both feel that Bethel Island should be included as a legacy community. They went down a list of reasons why. They also both advocate postponing discussion until the next meeting.
Why?
They have a planning team that includes Mr. Greitzer that they need to pull together that have been looking at this issue ongoing. They would like them to have a chance to continue to look at the 4 options. I also walked through the 5th option that was discussed yesterday with both.
Well, the answer to your question is I wouldn't go home now if I were you. We're going to talk about it some more.
Okay.
Because this was the meeting where the council was going to conclude its work on the staff Delta plan. We have a bunch of things remaining, but we have not agreed to hold a new meeting.
As citizens, we would also like to have an opportunity to look at the revised plan before we're sitting here trying to comment on it.
I understand the request. As you know, we've had now 6 revised plans. All the documents are public. I understand it's a lot to keep up with, particularly for citizens, but
and a chance to meet with our county representatives before we come back up here.
That's got to be up to you. That's not something we can.
We tried,
ensure.
but they didn't have the information either, so we were all at a loss.
Okay. All right.
So we're waiting till.
You ought to wait until we get through the risk reduction. Then we're going to go to Bethel Island, and then we're going to.
Okay. Thank you.
Keep plowing ahead. Okay. Let's go to item number 12, please, members. Item number 12, with the understanding that the RR Policy 1 is being discussed by Mr. Natoli, Mr. Grindstaff, et al.
So excuse me, are you going to hold, you're holding the motion on the floor that was entered previously on
On number 11?
Yeah.
Yes, oh yeah, there's no, no action at this time. On number 12, this is something I had raised, which is as previously written, it was not clear that our study on state investments would include cost-sharing ratios. And I had suggested to the staff that it is impossible to do a meaningful job without considering cost-sharing ratios, and they added the language.
We have not received any comments from anyone about this.
Is there anyone